Hey guys, controversial topic time. Okay, we're going to be talking about gun-free zones, and we're going to be talking about gun-free zones from a teacher's perspective. And what I think about gun-free zones, do they work, do they not work, all that fun stuff. If you have not already, please like and subscribe to my channel and to my videos. Okay, that really helps get my videos out there, and it really helps YouTube recommend these videos to certain people. Okay, so my experience as a teacher, I've been teaching for about 10 years now, and I will tell you right now, there is not a single day of my teaching career where I have felt safe. Okay, I think that gun-free zones paint a target onto schools. Now I'm going to show a couple of signs on my video here, and it's going to show you different ways of looking at a school from the shooter's perspective. Okay, if you are a shooter and you're thinking about going into a school or into a church or whatever, okay, which two of these signs do you think you would attack first? Okay, it's really not a hard decision. And I don't understand how these Democrats don't see this as a problem. Putting a gun-free zone sign on a school is like painting the biggest target you've ever seen. It's called a soft target. They are going to attack the soft targets. Okay? You're not going to walk into a gun store and attack that target, okay? Because there are guns everywhere. And everybody working at the gun store is armed. And this Nashville shooter, she had multiple targets in mind. And the other targets that she picked, she didn't go to because they had too much security. And you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. We need to start arming these places. We need to start protecting schools. We need to start protecting churches. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some churches out there that have actual undercover security with guns inside of the church. And they are doing it right. I've met a couple of them. I did a trade. I bought a firearm for a gentleman, and he was a church security guard. He told me he just wore a suit, and he had a shoulder holster underneath the suit. Okay, there are some churches out there that do that, and that's great. Good for them. Good for them. They're not going to be a statistic. Let's go into what the Gun-Free Zone Act really is. It was passed in 1990 to protect schools from these kind of events. Now, what's crazy is if you actually look at the law, it was passed unanimously on both sides. I think in Congress it was like 313 or whatever to 1. Like landslide passing. And I just don't understand back then why the Republicans thought that this was a good idea. And ironically, it was passed only a couple years before the assault weapons ban, in which we all know the assault weapons ban did about that much. It was actually so small, the statistics in crime were actually so small you couldn't even measure it. I think it actually makes schools less safe than more safe, because all of these shooters that go into these schools, they get past the locked doors all the time. Because A, they're either a student that goes there right now, they're an ex-student, okay, or they're a family member of one of the teachers in the school. 98% of the time, that 3 groups of people is what attacks schools. Okay, so locking doors is not the answer. Okay, you need resistance in these schools. Here's my thing about school resource officers and all of that. Okay, they have proven ineffective against shooters. And the reason they have proven ineffective against shooters is because they don't have that relationship with students like teachers do. Teachers, we would lay down our lives for our kids. Okay, that is our job. Okay, we love these kids. We go to school every day with these kids. Okay, some of these kids we know better than our own kids. And you betcha we would go into the line of fire for these students because most of us look at these students like we look at our own kids. School resource officers do not have that relationship with these kids. And it's proven in many cases when a school shooter goes into the building, they run straight out of the building. They don't even engage the suspect. They leave. They go outside the school. It's happened multiple times. And that is my big problem with it. We should be arming individuals that truly care about these students. Now, am I saying that we should arm all teachers? Absolutely not. Okay? I can take a teacher to the range and I can watch them fire one magazine and I can already tell if they're proficient at firing or not. I don't even have to look at where the bullets are going. I can just look at their stance. I can look at how they're holding the gun. I can look at their eyeballs. Are they leaning back when they shoot? Are their feet in the right position? Is their grip correct? Are they closing their eyes when they shoot? It's very easy to tell if you're proficient or not in a firearm. And if they pass all of those, then I can look at the target. We should be arming people that have experience with firearms. Okay, I've been carrying firearms every day for the past 10 years since I got into teaching. Okay, because when I got into teaching, school shootings were on the rise and I wanted to be prepared for it. I didn't necessarily want to own firearms at that time, but I wanted to know how they functioned. I'm a big time wrestler. If I get somebody in close quarters, I can probably take them down, but it's nice to know how these firearms worked because I can't treat it like wrestling if they have a weapon in their hand. Okay, I got to control the weapon first. I ended up buying a Glock 19 and I started shooting the Glock 19 because I wanted to know how it functioned, and I turned it into the biggest hobby ever, and now I have multiple of them. But there are people out there in the teaching community that are like me. Okay, we do so much shooting every day. We consider it a hobby. We protect ourselves with it. We carry it. Those are the kind of teachers that you're looking for. Okay, you're not looking for a teacher that has never fired a gun before. You take them to the range, they fire the gun, and then you give them a gun in the classroom. That is not the way to go. Okay, you need people with experience. You're looking for people that know the law, they know how to use a firearm, they know when to read the situation, they have good awareness. Those are the people you're looking for. And I would also recommend sending these people through firearm classes just to make sure they know how to make the right decision at the right time. Because when you fire your weapon in a school, you are still responsible for every single bullet that comes out of that gun. And teachers that are wanting to carry need to understand that. If they miss the target and accidentally hit a kid, they are responsible for that kid. Okay? If that kid happens to die, that is on them. The person who shot it, not the person who came in the school with a firearm. Okay? You need to be able to control every single shot that you fire. How we deal with school shootings is a lot different than some of you may think nowadays. We no longer like to cower in classrooms anymore. We're more about fleeing the building. If the school shooter is in the building, we try to communicate with each other and flee out the building towards the opposite end of where the shooter is. Okay, because the worst thing you can do is a shooter breaking through a door and then you have a bunch of students just sitting there. We went through a training not too long ago about attacking a shooter through the door. If the shooter comes through your door, you're not cowering in the corner. You are up next to the door ready to attack. And they taught us how exactly to handle different types of firearms with one person attacking the weapon, like I just talked about, and the other person attacking the actual human being. If you're working in high schools and middle schools, you can have students helping you jump the person. Okay, but first you got to control that firearm. If you want to live, every single person in that classroom needs to be attacking. Okay, but when they come through that door, everybody needs to be out of sight. When they come through the door, when he gets through the door, that's when everybody pounces. Okay, have a weapon in your hand, have a pencil, have a stapler, have anything you can. As a teacher, I really do feel for the shooters out there that go into these schools, because you are not born that way. They are driven to that. Taking the life of somebody else, it's probably the hardest thing they ever have to think about. Okay, because most of the time these individuals, there's no love at home, they have no friends, they're getting bullied. Okay, let's talk about bullying for a second. Okay, the problem with today's age is the bullying no longer stops in the school. And when I was in school most of my life, the bullying stopped. Not that I was bullied much, because I was so tall, but bullying stopped at 3 o'clock when you went home. But the bullying stopped when you went home. So you had all that time to recuperate mentally. And hopefully when you got home, you had a loving family to hold you tight and to give you some kindness. But the problem today is the new type of bullying, which is cyberbullying. This is bullying that's done through the cell phone. This is bullying that's done through social media. And the problem with this kind of bullying is it never stops. It just all day long. Nothing but bullying all day long. And that will wear on you quickly. And we've seen a couple of instances where these school shooters basically came into the school just to shoot a single target or multiple targets that had been bullying them. And yes, it's very sad for everybody that died, but you also feel for those students that are doing the shooting. Because I bet you if they were loved, I bet you if bullying did not exist, they would not have done those things. Another issue to the problem here is the media. You know, these kids are so beaten down and so depressed. Now they're going to go up and shoot a school because their name gets in the media. I'm telling you right now, the media is not helping. Okay, the media basically started, I believe, during that Columbine shooting is where they got a lot of publicity for that. And then after that, we've seen mass shootings, school shootings, church shootings on the rise ever since. And I believe that we need to stop with the media coverage. We all know why the media is doing it. They're doing it for gun control. 100%. 80-90% of the media is led by the liberals. And they're pushing all this stuff out there, okay, just for gun control, just for a narrative. They're not thinking about the effects that it's having on these depressed kids. And they're just going to keep doing it more and more. And the only reason they're televising it is because it sells and it's part of their narrative. They're trying to get rid of guns. Okay, guns make us the strongest country in the world. Guns is what makes the United States a superpower. Because you cannot control us. If you get past our military and you get into the mainland, there is not a chance you're going to be able to control our population with the amount of guns that we have on this country, on this land. Now, even if your family doesn't own guns, okay, the family next door owns 20. We are not going to get taken over by the government, and we're not going to be taken over by a foreign power. Because no one in their right mind would invade our country with the amount of guns that we have. And that's why they're trying, even other countries are trying to get rid of our guns via our government. Because that is how they control the populace. But anyway, I'm kind of getting off topic here. Were there mass shootings before the gun-free zones came into effect? Yes, there were some. Nowhere near what there are now. The number has grown exponentially since the Gun Free Zone Act was put into place. But for the love of God, we got to stop. We got to stop this school shooting pandemic, and it starts with this law. This law needs to disappear. It's helping no one. Now, please do not have, I am not recommending multiple police officers in a school at all times. That is not what I'm recommending. Okay? That is not good for the mentality of the student. If a student sees a guy walking around with a rifle and a pistol all day long, okay, they're automatically not going to feel safe. Okay? It's better if we protect these places with guns completely hidden. The only people that should know where these guns are the person that the gun belongs to and the administration. Nobody else needs to know. I forgot what school. I was watching a YouTube channel. There's this one school in, I believe, Texas. I can't remember where it was. Okay, but they had certain volunteer teachers in the school that had a firearm in their classroom locked up, and they also had soft body armor in their classroom locked up. And I guess the whole school district did this. And so when there is an incident of a school shooter in the building, each and every one of those teachers puts on their vest, velcros it in, takes their gun out, and goes to town. Tries to find the shooter and eliminate the shooter. And I guess that they said that that was completely voluntary to those people. And they had to prove to the school board that they were proficient with firearms. I can't remember what school district that was, but there was one. I'm like, oh my God, that is a school district I want to be a part of. I hope you guys really enjoyed the teacher's perspective on gun-free zones, on why they absolutely do not work. And that even a person that carries firearms every single day, I will not feel safe until guns are allowed in the school. That's how we protect ourselves here in the United States. Let's be honest. Okay, there are millions upon millions of guns out there. Anybody can get their hand on one. Anybody can attack any target they want. And the reason I don't get the justification for making schools such a soft target when it's a bunch of kids that can't defend themselves. Okay, they're there for learning. Okay, they're not there to protect themselves against bullets. Okay, the whole situation is just dumb. But anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. God bless you guys.